But yeah, no business cards. And yeah, I'm dumb. Hi, my name is Karma. I am the artist behind PGX James on online and in person mostly accessory and art shop. Today we are at International Tattoo Collectors Expo in Frisco, Texas. I'll insert some footage here of day zero. Hey, how's it going? I am currently setting up. It is day zero of International Tattoo Collectors Expo. I am setting up. I am on my own right now, so figured let's chat along while I try to set up. Where'd my screwdriver go? Ha ha ha! Screwdriver. I am here alone. Obviously, it's Friday. There was a snafu of sorts with my table selection. It was a little awkward because the person in my booth right now, or my old booth I should say, he was also an artist, and it looked like he had a lot bigger setup than I did. And it kind of sucks because it would be great to have the big corner booth, but unfortunately I guess I got here too late. They also they didn't give me a sign. So everyone else pretty much has a paper sign, but because my booth number changed, I guess I'm not allowed to have one. So that kind of sucks. Also, it's not hot here necessarily. I'm just a sweaty person. I'm a sweaty person. So it is what it is. So something really cool they did this time around is that they put plastic all over the floors, and that's I think it's because it's a, what do you call it? It's a carpeted convention center, which tattoo fluids and convention center carpet does not mix. But being me, I already accidentally ripped the plastic. I'm not planning on dropping any bodily fluids this weekend here, so let's hope I don't get in trouble for ripping the plastic, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm taking my time. Setup today is between 5 and 9 ? Overall vibe is fancy in here. I guess I'll check in a little later if I finish setting up properly, but yeah. Hi, how's it going? Okay, so setup is done. Everything is wrapped up, ready to go for tomorrow. So I'm gonna walk around and see what's up. Okay, here's a better look of everything covered up. Where am I going? Oh, I'm trying to leave, that's right. So I saw this earlier when I was here trying to find the bathroom. But there's a bunch of motorcycles. Oh, I guess they're for sale. Interesting. See, there's some more down there, and then there's a bunch over here. I'm guessing this is where the front entrance will be tomorrow. Sorry if I'm whispering. It's very quiet in here. Yeah, so here's some signage, merch, tables. Not a whole lot today. Super cool. Art. This is very awkward. I'm finally looking for an entrance to go back in so I can go back out. Where this convention is happening is over there, and this is the area of Frisco that has all of the sports stuff, so I'm pretty sure the Dallas Stars are around here somewhere. But yeah, that's an interesting fact. So this is pretty much what you're missing out on whenever I don't record day zero. It's sweaty, messed up bangs, stretched out collar that's full of sweat, even though I brought a towel with me in my car, ready to go home. Setup is pretty much done. I have a few things I need to try to find because I'm missing little placards for some of my items, my posters, and my canvas prints. I will look for those tomorrow before doors open. I think tomorrow doors open at 11 or noon. I'll have to double check. I think it starts a little later because it's a Friday, but I know we're allowed to be there at 10 a.m. I am not gonna be here at 10 a.m. I'm just telling you that now. Telling that to myself too. I'm not gonna be here at 10 a.m. I know it ends at 11 p.m. on Saturday and Friday. It ends at 9 p.m. on Sunday. And those are really long show hours. I know it's probably because there's a lot of traveling tattoo artists who are coming into town, and there's clients that have booked with them who probably want bigger pieces. And so it's just, a matter of convenience to have a lot of time. It's understandable for the tattoo artists, but for the vendors, I wish they would have like separate hours to be like, hey, you guys are allowed to pack up at this time. I know it's one of those things where it's like you can leave whenever you're comfortable leaving, but it's also like, I don't know. I'll probably make a judgment call based on how much foot traffic there is. If it's very little by 8, I'm gonna leave. Let me take a step back. The situation with our table was that they double booked us, and I noticed this morning when they finally released the map. So I saw that me and another artist were actually in the same booth. And I was kind of bummed out because I was like, man, they're probably going to bump me because I'm a little nobody. And so I was just kind of trying to be proactive. So I emailed them and I'm like, hey, I was looking at the chart and you guys double booked my table. So I just wanted to get that taken care of before setup starts. Because I know that during setup day, the organizers are running around like crazy. So I was trying to see if maybe I could catch them before they started doing stuff. So I did. They said they got my email and I was like, they're going to take care of it. I was like, cool. Okay, great. So I get there and my original table was 35. And they're like, oh yeah, here's your wristbands. Here's your Wi-Fi password. Here's, your information. And here is your table number. And they're like, it's 35. And I'm like, oh, okay. They must have bumped the other guy. So I was like, I made my way over there. And of course I'm by myself. So I'm slow and fat. So, but I make my way over there and there is a guy like in the process of completing his booth. And it is huge. And the spaces we have here are 10 by 10. And his booth was taking up the entire 10 by 10 space. Not in a bad way. He was doing a very good job with the fact that we have no height restrictions and really optimizing his space. I was mad jealous, but he was like practically done. So I was like, hey, just double checking. You're 35, right? And he's like, yes, I'm 35. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm supposed to be 35 too. So I'll go ask them about it. And he's like, oh yeah, I saw that. I'm really sorry. I'm like, yeah, I emailed them this morning to see if they could fix it ahead of time, but it looks like they didn't. So I made my way back over there, sweaty and exhausted. They eventually came and took care of it. But luckily, one of the other vendors, she had booked a corner table or an end cap. And they had given her an inline table. And so they were like, hey, did you pay extra for an end cap? And I'm like, no. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. We'll just switch you with her. And then we'll put her at an end cap. And then whoever, that guy who was at the end cap will get bumped. And if he decides to show up, we'll deal with that later. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I walked over there and it made me laugh because the lady was like, oh, it's going to be closer too. And I'm like, I mean, it's not closer to where I am now, which is the important part because I'm lazy. But yeah, so it worked out in the end. I got a table. It's an inline table. It looks like I'm around a tattoo, there's a tattoo studio right next to me. Like it's multiple artists working for a studio. And then there's some independent artists around me. And then there's a piercing booth. Like diagonal from us. So if I walk out of here with another piercing, you know why. I'll check in tomorrow. I don't think I have a whole lot to do today ? I'm anticipating it's going to be pretty slow compared to the other 2 tattoo conventions we've done. I think I made $3 at the last one, and then at the one before that I made I made $5. I think I made $5 the first day at the last one. So I'm anticipating very little. So tomorrow is probably going to be a lot of me organizing stuff, trying to get things in a good place for the rest of the conventions I have this month, and just trying to fill the time because those hours are ridiculous. I'm not staying that long. I'm telling you now, I'm not staying. But I'll fill you guys in tomorrow. So I got here late. It is currently like 2:30. I'm in the parking garage that's next to the convention center and there's like no one here, so I'm assuming I'm fine. I feel like taking the stairs because I'm looking at a bunch of crap, so you guys get to come along. I'm hot. Like I said, it was like 2:30 when I was in my car, and I wasn't in a huge rush to get here just because it's Friday. It's a tattoo convention. No one's coming to see me, so I'll just vibe. But I'm looking at a bunch of crap to keep me entertained. Today is Friday, July 11th. It is currently 2:43 p.m. Doors opened at 2. I literally just got here like maybe 10 minutes ago. I don't want to sound negative, but this is my third tattoo convention of the year, and as a small artist that's not a tattoo artist, these kinds of events aren't really the best for me. I posted a vlog of the last one I did, and if you watch that one, you know that it's probably not going to be like the most profitable event of the year. Yeah, like we're here, we're going to just try to fill the time in. The hours for today are 2 to 11. I am not staying until 11. I'll probably take off at 8 if it slows down enough. If it's still pretty busy, I might stay, but so we'll see. There is a lot of noise. So the last tattoo convention I did, they had a rule against artists playing music at their booth because they would be having a DJ. It seems that there is no rule here for that, so every artist or every other artist is playing their own music, so it's like a bit overstimulating for somebody who prefers quiet time. But I'll put some headphones in and deal with it the best I can. So I'll check in a little later to see how it's going. Like I said, it just started. I'm late. The parking garage was pretty much empty, so I don't think it's going to be super packed today unless people show up after work. But I'll check in a little later and see how things are going. But yeah, I just realized that I fucking forgot my business cards. I have like 4 boxes that I bought in bulk a few weeks ago or a few months ago just because Vistaprint was having a sale, so I bought a bunch. And I forgot a box of them, so luckily I have like a display business card up there that like people can scan the QR code, but I feel like people tend not to. It's like they're more likely to follow you if they keep your business card after the event than if they do it like right then and there. So it is what it is. I'll probably see if I can swing by tomorrow to pick them up, but I'll figure that out later. Right now, I think I'm just going to work on like a little project here and there, or I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, no business cards. And yeah, I'm dumb. Okay, so I am currently in the process of trying to count and organize butt tin. I made about $6 so far. Somebody bought an air freshener. The current time is 6:13. So been here a few hours, made 1 sale. I'm trying to maximize the things I'm doing with the time I have today. The foot traffic has been pretty slow. I didn't even realize it was that late already, considering it's been fucking dead. So I've organized buttons. I've put together the packaging and stuff for some of the keychains I was running out of. Organized some pins and just kind of cleaned up as much as I could. Yeah, I'm trying to have a good time. I was also playing Love in Deep Space earlier, which, I showed, but I feel like it's straining my eyes a little bit too much, so I'm trying to chill. Yeah, it's complicated. I'll check in a little later and see how things go. So if there's no more updates after this, it's probably because nothing really happened. Okay, it is currently 8:38. It was dead. I'm gonna be real. It was dead. And the only reason I stayed as long as I did is because I was playing Love in Deep Space. I got distracted. And then I was like, oh, it's past 8. So I wrapped everything up and left. Even though I was already anticipating it being a very slow day, I was kind of hoping that this one would be a little bit better than the last one. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's like a feature on Instagram that you are able to now see views on certain posts that you make. And you can also see it on tagged posts. So the convention actually made a post for me, and it was a couple months ago, and it got like well over 2,000 views. It didn't get that many likes, but it got a bunch of views. So I was hoping that like that meant there was going to be a lot of foot traffic. Not necessarily that people would be looking for me, but like that there would be enough foot traffic to justify having it open on Friday. So in total, we made $6. One person stopped by, picked up an air freshener. So, like I said, double of what we made last time. It's not the best, but you gotta laugh about it sometimes, you know? So a win is a win. Maybe tomorrow will be double what we made last time, and then that'll make it like close to making table. It's interesting because like obviously I'm not a tattoo artist. I am tattooed, but I'm not really in like the tattoo culture. From my knowledge of tattoos and tattoo artists, and maybe that's because like I go to specific tattoo artists, but like I always thought that having tattoos and going to one of these things was more of like I wouldn't say alternative, I would say more of like a countercultural sort of thing where it's not technically for the broader audience. It's like a very niche sort of audience that would be into tattoos and skulls and dark imagery or even just like stuff like that. But I failed to acknowledge that tattoos have become very mainstream and a lot more people have tattoos. And not only that, but a lot more traditionally normie people are heavily tattooed. So it's like they're not looking for countercultural or alternative artwork. They're looking for basic artwork. And that sounds really neat. I'm not calling any of the artists who are there basic by any means. It's more so, it's not my clientele. It's not my alternative spooky clientele. And that's to the detriment of me. There is another vendor there that I've spoken to, and they are a food vendor, and they do really well because what goes better with tattoos than food? So it's like, if I wouldn't not recommend vending at a tattoo convention. I feel like if you have the right sort of clientele, or you have this right sort of product to sell at one of these sort of broader conventions, it makes sense. But for me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for me to pay, I think this table was either $500 or $700. I have to look at my notes. It doesn't make sense for a smaller artist like me to spend so much money on a table that the audience isn't as carefully curated as they kind of make it out to be. So, or, my whole gripe with tattoo conventions in general is like, you guys can charge, I mean, you shouldn't, but like they are allowed to charge $1,200 for a tattoo artist to work a convention. And that makes sense because a tattoo artist can easily make, $700, $800 a day doing 2 tattoos. And, for them, it would be worth it because, 2 days, 3 days work, they could easily triple their investment. For the vendors, nobody's looking for you. Nobody's taking the time because that's not what they're shopping for. So I really feel like in the future, when, tattoo conventions have been doing this a long time, it's not like they're gonna fucking listen to me, but in the future it would be better if they lowered the rate for vendors. And I'm pretty sure the only reason they offer vendor tables at tattoo conventions is to, 1, fill in vacant space, and 2, round out the cost of everything. They don't prioritize the vendors. They don't like provide us anything extra. We are seat fillers, so it doesn't look empty. And it gives people something to look at when they're not looking at tattoo artists. And that's fine, but it should be priced accordingly, in my opinion. I feel like if I can get an artist alley table at one of the biggest conventions in the country for under $500, you shouldn't be allowed to charge $700 for a booth that gives a fraction of the foot traffic. And maybe that's my naivety playing, peaking, I should say. But I don't know. It seems excessive for the amount of business expected. And that's on me as well. As a business owner, I should have been able to thought about this a little bit better. But, the way things are advertised, it makes it harder to make a decision if you don't know anybody who's already done it. So it's not the best. It's not the best feeling. And I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm not going to make table this weekend. I'm not going to make profit. I'm not going to make, any important moves business-wise this weekend that would make a difference to my fiscal year. And
You know, I don't know which is better. I don't know which is better, doing the convention, knowing I'm not going to make any money, or coming here and, or, you know, coming here and doing that, or just staying home and eating the $700, $500. But who knows? You never know. Maybe somebody will come by tomorrow. And I brought a lot less artwork than I did the last couple of times, just because I'm like, I really don't want to set up the grid walls by myself. I really don't want to take, you know, an extra 20 minutes to do that. And I don't want to lug it all around with, you know, by myself, because when I set up on Fridays, I'm going to do it alone. That's just the bottom line. If, you know, my partner is able to come with me, that would be fantastic. But chances are he's working, and I don't want to put him in a position where he needs to rush over to where I am 45, 50 minutes away to help. And so it's just one of those things where your motivation to do that is a lot less when you know for a fact there's no silver lining. But, you know, I'll stop rambling for now. Tomorrow's another day. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna try to get some rest. The light outside just turned on, so that means, hey, get the fuck out of here. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Yes. All right, welcome to day 2. We've already been here a hot minute. I forgot to vlog. It is currently 12:39. Doors open today at 11 a.m. We got here at like 11:15 because we stopped for breakfast/lunch. It's about the same as yesterday, I'm not gonna lie. We've made one sale, another $6. Somebody bought a bunch of buttons, which is always nice, but yeah, it's as slow as you'd think it'd be. Not really a whole lot to update on. I'll try to update later. There's really not a whole lot to do. I did most of like my housekeeping stuff yesterday, so today is just sitting around and playing games. I accidentally forgot Mason's Switch, which I feel really bad about. Yeah, he's just stuck on his phone today. But yeah, so far so good. I'll see if maybe later on I'll roam around a little bit and get some footage of everything going on, but so far nothing too exciting. I'll check in later. Here is an update from 2:55 p.m. So we've been here a few hours now. It's been dead. I've been working on this. Let's see. Focus, Ghostface piece. I'll probably varnish it and stuff and have it ready for sale for the horror convention we have next weekend. I'm just trying to make the best of the time. Definitely not going to stay here until 11 again. Probably won't even stay until 8, but we'll see. Yeah, just based on the previous 2 we've done, the foot traffic of this one is a lot less. And I'm not sure if it's because it's in Frisco and not in like actual Dallas, but it's a little disheartening. So it's day 3. Obviously, I am outside right now. I didn't really feel like recording inside. I need some air. Yesterday was pretty disappointing, which is probably why we didn't get an update. But in total, I think we made like $80 about. So yeah, disappointing. I'm out here trying to get some beef footage of some of the signage outdoors and stuff. So at least there's that. Yeah, haven't made a single sale today. I don't even know where my phone is. I think I left it at the table, but I'm gonna say it's around noonish. That's fine. Yeah, it's been pretty dead. The foot traffic at this convention is a lot less than the foot traffic at the last 2, which, you know, probably has to do with the fact that it's in Frisco, which is north of Dallas, instead of being in Dallas proper, or at least in the close vicinity to Dallas. So it is what it is. It's a learning experience. I knew after the first one that no more tattoo conventions for me, but yeah, that kind of reiterated that whole sentiment. I was hoping it'd at least be as good as Tattoo Fest, but it looks like we're in the super negatives. So check out that shop link in the bio. Yeah, I'm gonna keep walking around. Building back there is the parking garage. It's attached to the convention center. On the other side, it's also attached to a hotel on that side. So fun stuff. You'll probably see some beef footage in some of the edits I do, but yeah, I'll update if anything else happens. I I drew a little ghost face thing that I'm going to sell next weekend. I don't think I finished showing it, but yeah. It's funny because I was talking to my sister about the first tattoo convention video I did, and she was like, yeah, you just seemed really sad. And I was like, oh, I thought I edited out all the sad bits. And then I realized, no, it's the tone. The whole tone of your voice is different when you're disappointed. So I'm not going to try to hide it this time. We'll see what happens. I don't foresee it suddenly becoming a windfall event where somebody comes in and buys all of my original paintings, which is probably the only way I would make table at this point with this short amount of time. But you never know. All right, I'm gonna keep walking. So I realized I hadn't really shown off the booth for this weekend. It's pretty much the basic sort of setup. I ran out of tote bags, so I sold out of my last tote bag yesterday, which, you know, made up a little bit of that money. I displayed some of my prints up here. Of course, I turned on tilt lock, but whatever. And then I have, just like I said, one rack of the originals, my canvas prints, and then we have the back of the booth, which is super awesome and not tote messy whatsoever. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're working with this weekend, or had been working with this weekend. So it is currently Tuesday, the Tuesday after the con, so it's July 15th. Thoughts about the convention. So the convention runners were really polite, really kind, really nice. Nothing but good things to say about them personally. The convention itself, a little rough. Nothing against the event. If you are going to go for a tattoo, chances are you're going to find a really good artist. So I can't even say anything. But if you are going as a non-tattoo artist, I would probably recommend against it, at least for me. Maybe it was just not my crowd. Maybe I didn't have the right products. Maybe I didn't have the right prints. Who knows? For me, it was a bust. So I'm just using that as my personal experience. This event was a total bust. So will I do it in the future? No, I will not. I probably won't be doing any more tattoo conventions in general, just because they tend to be rough for me. Out of the 3 I've done, I have made back table at 1, and that was by the skin of my teeth. So it's difficult. But let me break down some numbers, since that's pretty interesting to me. I like when people break down numbers, so I'm going to break down some numbers myself. I have written them down on my handy dandy sticky note. So overall expenses were high, because even though this was a local con to me, I could drive. It was an expensive table, and for the amount of crowd that I got, or honestly the amount of walking traffic that there was, I don't think it's justified in being so expensive for non-artist vendors, non-tattoo artist vendors. Total table was $750, which is really high. I thought it was lower than that, but I paid for 3 tattoo convention tables back to back, so I couldn't remember who was who. But after looking at my notes, this one was $750. So parking was not provided for free, but it was provided at a discount, so I will say that. Each day was $10, so I paid $30 for parking, and then I paid the toll. I have a toll tag, so it automatically comes out, so usually I don't count it, but I'm going to count it this time because I had to take the tollway to and from, and that was 6 times, so that was $15. Not the worst. And I have a toll tag, so I get the discount for that. So $15, not terrible. So overall total expenses was $795. Ouch. Counting sales from Cash App, Venmo, card transactions, and cash, I made $136.94. Not the best. That is a total loss of $658.06. So going into July in the red, which we already were in the red, considering that the other 2 tattoo conventions were also not very profitable, which is, you know, it's hard, but we live and we learn. No more tattoo conventions for me. And everyone's been telling me no more tattoo conventions for you. So I will take that to heart, and I will probably be trying to sign up for more anime
conventions probably, because I do surprisingly well at anime conventions. So that's always a good thing. So yeah, it's a little rough. This weekend I have a OKC Horror Con, so that'll be hopefully good. But yeah, follow your dreams, kids. Sometimes they put you in crippling debt. I'm gonna keep doing my best, but thanks for coming along. This is fun. I appreciate everybody who came by the table, even though it wasn't very many people. If you bought, I'm glad I made $100. Let's just put it that way. I'm glad I made $100. I know that's not the best sort of mindset for a business, but I could have made nothing. I almost made nothing on Sunday. Luckily, the artist that was sitting next to me, she finished her tattoo while we were packing up because we did leave early. We weren't feeling great. It was like 5 o'clock and the convention ended at 9, and I wasn't already feeling great. I was kind of like in my own head. I felt sick. My partner wasn't feeling great. So I asked and she allowed us to leave early, which was great. But as we were packing up, the artist next to me was like, I wanted to buy some of your prints at the end of the day, but if you're leaving now, I'll pick some up. And I was like, okay, cool. So we made $20 there, which, awesome. I made something on Sunday. So that's good. But I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully this will be the next vlog will be a more positive one. Thanks for coming along. See you next time. Bye.